Mhm.
Right. The first thing we're going to do is to explain and understand what the grids are, the ley lines around the planet.
Mhm.
And to understand it, it's really how energy works. It goes from a positive to a negative polarity. And the grid is like a mobile phone grid, in that you have various towers receiving messages and transmitting messages. And the towers in the cell phone grid are akin to the stargates and Q sites that we have on the planet. And these are portals. So you think of the cell phone tower as a portal. It's receiving messages and it's passing messages on. So the message gets passed through the cell phone tower. And that is very similar to how the grids work. It's receiving information and passing it on, so it becomes a portal. And that's really what portals are. They are a means of receiving energy and passing it on, so it kind of flows through you. So when I speak about portals, that's what I'm speaking about. And there are many, many, many portals, and the forms of portals, different kinds of portals. Mirrors, for instance, are portals into the from the matter world into the antimatter world, because what you're seeing in the mirror is not you. You're seeing the antimatter version of you in the mirror, and it's reversed. So, you know, when you raise your right hand, the mirror shows that a left hand. So it's in reverse. So in a sense, that's what portals are. They're just receiving information and passing on information. Now, the history of this, every planet has a grid work. In fact, every manifest thing, anything in manifestation in the material world is manufactured by energy. And it's how energy moves from one space to another. And just think of the universe as a large energy ball, a large ball of energy that has many connections, all connecting things together on a macro level as well as a micro level. So there are many layers of this energy. And like our human bodies have an energy system where the energy is generated by Merkaba fields, and the Merkaba transmits this energy to the body through our chakra system. Now, chakras are also portals. So what do I mean by that? They receive and pass on information. Think of it as an information exchange as well as energy exchange. Think of information as energy, because that's really what it is. And if you can think in those terms of information being energy, emotions being energy, thoughts being energy, and you will begin to see how everything around you is just energy. People appearing before you are just energy beings. They're generating energy that transmitted it into their bodies through their chakras, and then the chakras distribute that through meridian lines in the body. Now, acupuncturists use the meridian lines for healing. You can go online and see maps of the meridian lines in the body, and the key points in the body that are the portals through which this energy transfers. A good example of that are crystals. Crystals are able to receive energy and pass on energy. In fact, the very first versions of a radio were crystal radios. they had crystals in it because they, well, Marconi realized, but he got this information from Nikola Tesla, that crystals can receive energy and pass energy on. So it became an ideal medium for radio, because it could receive energy and it could pass that energy on. So if you think of the human body as being filled with these portals, so does the Earth. Now, many people's concept of the Earth is that it's just this big rock in the sky floating in space. They don't understand that the Earth is intelligent, that the Earth is a sentient being, and much of the energy we get into our bodies comes from our off-body chakras. So we have the on-body chakras that are the transmission lines to the energy in our body, but our 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 chakras are receiving energy from the Earth. So the Earth is also transmitting energy into us. Now, grid keeping is like being a portal for that universal energy, because we can receive that energy, but we have to pass it on. We have to transmit it. And we'll go through in later discussions on this and how to receive and pass on that information, so that we become the portals for information. Now, the Earth has certain meridian lines, if you like, which we call leylines or grid lines, and they pass that energy on through various energy points on Earth. And like the 12 planetary stargates, the 12 solar stargates, and there's one universal stargate on Earth. So you've got all these portals on Earth, but they're not the only ones, because they are the stargates, but you've got, for each stargate, there's a Q site. So you've got 25 stargates, 25 Q sites, and these are just portals through which that receive energy and pass energy on. So the Earth, the Sun is also a stargate, and it's a portal. So it receives energy from the rest of the universe and passes that energy on to Mother Earth. Mother Earth receives that energy and is a portal to transmit that energy to the planet, not only to humans on the planet, but to all living things on the planet. So the Earth is a magnificent energy structure that has a certain anatomy and a certain way that it works. And it's the understanding of how energy works that you will enhance your understanding of everything in the universe. Because what I've described is the fractal nature of the universe. Now, fractal just means a fraction, part of. So everything in manifestation is a part of something else. It's a bigger picture. And it's this energy transfer from one living thing to another living thing that creates all this energy around that we experience as life. Okay, think of it as life force, energy, prana, chi, whatever you wish to call it. It's etheric energy, or it's organic energy, and it's a different form of energy from what we experience, we've been told is energy. So our science, unfortunately, doesn't understand this, and the debate whether the ether actually exists is still going on. People just, scientists just can't seem to understand that there is something which is invisible that carries life force energy around us, that is called ether. And I'll explain more about the ether in further discussions. But it's understanding the fractal nature of the universe. We've got a galaxy. The galaxy is part of a universe. The solar system is part of a galaxy. The Earth is part of the solar system, and through the sun. The sun is the portal that receives the energy from the universe and passes it on to Earth. Now, when I started good keeping in 2006, I was learning about it at that time. And it took me a while to really get to grips with it, because it's so foreign to everything we understand here on this planet. Because we tend to, we have learned the science of physical matter. We haven't learned the science of energy. And Nikola Tesla was very good at this. He understood ley lines, and he spoke about ley lines and grid lines. And he was trying to help humanity by creating free energy by using the grid lines. And when he built his Wycliffe Tower, which was I think it was a 100-foot tower above the Earth, it was probably 144 foot if I understand Nikola Tesla's thought process. He was able to transfer energy from the Wycliffe Tower to a receiver 100 miles away through the air using a ley line as a transmission point. So if we understood ley lines and grid lines, we would transform the whole understanding of energy on this planet. Because we tend to think of energy as being kinetic energy. In other words, you have to burn something in order to get energy. You have to destroy matter in order to create energy. But it actually works the other way around. The energy is all around us. All we have to do is learn how to harness that energy. For instance, people don't know that if you put a metal conductor into the ground and you measure the voltage of that, you'll probably find that there is voltage being emitted by that by the Earth. Every cell in our body uses approximately half to 1 volt of energy every day. So we have billions of cells in our body. So we are using up an enormous amount of energy every day, and we're also transmitting an enormous amount of energy every day. But these are little known facts that very few people will talk about. But Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about this in his work and in his books.
And it's the water in our bodies as well, with the lights coming in, right? Is that kind of like a energy producer?
Yeah, what current human thinking does, it creates a block. So we block out the energy and we don't allow it to pass through us. Now, a great way to pass energy through, and I had to do this, was to ground my energies. Because at one stage I was building up such high frequencies and high energies in my body that I was blowing light bulbs and destroying my motor in my engine, destroying disk drives. My computers weren't working. So I had a discussion with my higher self. I said, "What's happening? I can't function like this. I've got to get to work, so I can't drive my car." It was funny. I got into my car to try to start. It wouldn't start. And I'd get someone else to start the car. They would get in and start, and we would start. So he explained to me that we had to ground the energy. And what most humans do, they block energy. So, and blocking this energy means that it just becomes stagnant in our body. So he explained that humans, when they first made, they didn't have shoes, or they had leather shoes. And leather is a conductor, so it can pass on energy. But when the rubber sole was invented and people started using rubber soled shoes, that insulated humans from the earth. So they weren't naturally passing, exchanging energy from their bodies into the earth. So he told me that I should go out into the garden, plant my feet in the ground, and do the energy work. It's basically breath, feeding the energy and allowing it to pass through me, blowing it out, and intentionally moving it down from the body into the earth. So understanding energy is very foreign to current human thinking, because we tend to think, and the reason we can't use etheric energy to run our appliances and electrical systems is because those appliances were designed to pass on kinetic energy. We have to redesign the appliances that we use in order to use etheric energy. But we also have to learn, like we have something called capacitors in many of our appliances. These are just little like little batteries that are able to hold energy and discharge energy. So when you boot up your computer, the capacitor pulls in a lot of energy, and then it passes that on to the computer in a controlled way. Now, in a sense, we have to become those capacitors. In other words, we pull in energy, hold it, and blow it out, into the Earth's grid. Now, how I made ley lines more real to me was by using dowsing rods. In a conversation with my higher self, he said, draw a map of the energy fields in your vicinity and discover the ley lines around you. So I would take walks with these dowsing rods, go into the fields and just walk, and then watch how the dowsing rods moved. And when you hit a grid line or an energy line, they would go either that way or they would go that way.
I can't see your hands. Oh, yeah. So they'd open like they're hitting something.
Or one direction or the other. When they turn in the same direction, that's an electrical field. Okay, so it's energy coming from somewhere wanting to go somewhere, and where it wants to go is a magnetic point, if I can call it that. And when they open like that, that's a magnetic field that you're coming across that is pulling in energy from different points around it, from different energy points. Yeah, I think let's call this today on that one, because if I get on to the next topic, it's gonna I won't be able to explain it in 10 minutes. So
a big one.
If you don't mind, that's how we'll do it. Just talk key points and then go into the next subject the next time. And I know what the next subject is, but if I start it now, it's going to take another half hour.
All good. And then just quickly, so once you got a feel for the ley lines, would there be a feeling like you probably after a while you could just feel whether something is an electrical line or a magnetic?
Yeah,
because of the way that you experience it.
Yeah, and once I hit a very strong ley line, I mean, it was so strong that as soon as I entered that field of energy, that my dowsing rods immediately went at right angles. And as I moved through it, I found that this ley line was, because I walked through the ley line to see how long my dowsing rods would point in the same direction. And I walked about 400 meters, and the dowsing rods were still the same. And I tried to pull them straight, and then they immediately passed on. And so I went online and looked up in Google the grid line maps that are online. You could find lots of them. And I discovered that there is a ley line coming from Basra in Iraq that was passing through the town that I was doing my grid work in, and it was passing through to the South Pole, Antarctica, which is also a stargate. So that's when I realized that when I asked my higher self about it, he said, well, that's what your purpose is here, is to hold that grid line, to pass on the energy from Basra, build the energy within you, pass it on, and so you reinforce the energy grids around you. And that portal in Antarctica is a very important stargate. And it's held captive by the draconians at the moment.
I hear stories about beings coming and going through there, but
yeah. So discovering where all these portals are, and we'll do a session where we'll talk about where all the stargates are and where all the Q sites are, so that you get some feel for it. Like, you know, Giza is the universal stargate on the planet, and it's a very important energy point. But unfortunately, that was captured also by the Anunnaki groups here, and they haven't really opened that up to the public as yet. And so we know very little information about it, but there have been some archaeologists who've given us a lot of information. And one archaeologist actually explained that underneath the Giza pyramid, there's a huge cavern that has water in it. And
there used to be a lot of water, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also produces its own light source. So when you got into that space, it was producing its own light. So they could switch their torches off, and they used this massive cavern filled with light. But it was more like a translucent light, and not like the light we experience here. It was more kind of opaque, translucent light. But these are facts that, you know, that only come to you through research and through being curious. Because when I was waking up, I asked a lot of questions, because I'm the sort of person, I have they say curiosity killed the cat, but boy, in my life, I've just been curious about everything. How does this work? How does that work? So I asked a lot of questions of my higher self. And often he wouldn't give me a direct answer, but he would point me in the direction of where the answer lay, so that I could go discover it for myself. And that helped me a lot, because I began to understand the energy in the context of where our science is and how science here has hidden this information from us. Because if we discovered it, we would make so much progress as humans. You know, Nikola Tesla actually said this: if you understand energy, frequency, vibration, and energy, you've made more progress in 1 year than humanity has made in the last century. And he was absolutely right, because we are far off track, but we've been pointed in that direction by a science that is controlled, and only information they want us to know, and they think will not be helpful to us, really. And we get stuck in it. You know, so all the good stuff is hidden from us, and we only know about physical matter. You know, quantum science only started in the 40s 1840 or so, when people became curious about quanta and atoms and how they work. But even now, today, people still don't understand quanta in a real sense. They don't understand quarks. They don't understand what the purpose of quarks are. It's all just energy, vibration, and frequency. Understand that concept, and everything becomes apparent. So yeah, I'm just thinking, is there anything else I can tell you about grid lines? A lot of grid lines emanate all around us. Like, for instance, when I was using my dowsing rods, I would find sometimes that there was a grid line that would pass right through my house where I was living, but it wasn't a very strong grid line. They have various depths.
I was going to say, there must be minor ones, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. The strong ones, I would guess, would be probably a mile wide. The weaker ones are maybe 6 inches to a foot. And you'll notice your dowsing rods will move quickly, or they'll slowly begin to turn. And when they slowly turn, you know that's not a very strong grid line. Or if they open up slowly. In fact, I used dowsing rods and people. I would walk towards them, ask them to stand still, and walk towards them. And as I walked towards them, the dowsing rods would either turn that way or they would open that way. And when they open that way, you know that person was emitting magnetic energy, and other people were emitting electrical energy. So, you know, understanding that concept that the electricity is thought, it's light, magnetic energy is emotion and rhythm or sound, you know, and that they all are connected. They're different expressions of the same thing. And the two things that are expressed in many different ways are electrical and magnetic energy, electromagnetism. That's what the universe really is. And understanding how the waves of energy work, how the waves of light work, and how the waves of magnetic of sound work, you know, will enhance our ability to use the energy around us to become more effective as being portals on this planet to assist Mother Earth, to assist each other, to transfer energy from one person to another. But, you know, we've got a long way to go to be able to get to that point. I hope I haven't confused you.
No. Yeah, one step at a time, isn't it? So building up that understanding.
Yeah.
And so, let's just say, for example, I found a you know, a magnetic line running through my home. Do people normally find that to be like a positive energy in their home, or neutral, depending on how you?
Yeah, it's just if you don't think of it in that way of being, because the way waves work, magnetic waves, electrical waves. So if you come across a magnetic wave, it's a very positive thing, because you can transfer thought energy along that magnetic wave. But certain waves are, you know, they either large or small. So and unfortunately, the fallen ones here have used the magnetic energies here to transfer negative energy onto the planet and through the planet and through people.
Yes. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. So often people will say, like, oh, I have this disturbing energy in my home that I need to get rid of, and they've found it. And I guess that's why it's disturbing, because it's being utilized in that way.
Yeah. Now, generally, if there's negative energy in your home, it's because you are picking up energy signals from the universe, you know. So where's the solution? It's within yourself.
Yeah.
And we've got to stop blaming other people, blaming things around us, and start taking back control. We've got to, take responsibility for the experiences we have and to change those and transmute and transform them into the kind of experiences we want to have. People will say, "Oh, I'm feeling all these negative energies." Well,
it's very disempowering, isn't it? Yeah.
I hear that a lot these days. Oh, the energy's overwhelming me, and I think, oh my God. Just use the power within your soul, absorb those energies, pass them on, be a portal.
Yeah, transmutation, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, dear one. I'll see you next Monday.
Monday, yeah. Thank you.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
You too.